Right now, there were 3,000 notified dog attacks in Auckland alone last year. Now, that number is up by 1,000 on 5 years ago. Among the victims was Coatesville's nzherald, whose dog was attacked on her own property.
I was heading this way, Rosie stopped right here. And I thought, oh, that's odd. And we could hear a rustling in the bushes, and I thought, oh, it's a rat or a rabbit or something, and she was just absolutely still. And then out from those bushes came the little white dog. And I thought, oh gosh, I've got to pick her up. And as I went to pick her up, he was already on her, bowled her over and pushed her down into the bushes here. And he was on her, I thought he was on her neck. I started hitting it on its side with the side of my fist, to distract it. Made no difference whatsoever. So I grabbed it by its side. It's a short-haired dog, so I grabbed it by its side and just picked it up. And luckily, the greenhouse was open, so I took it in the greenhouse and shut the door. The adrenaline just rushes through you. And I did what I had to do because I honestly thought it was going to tear her apart. I thought it was going to kill her.
Yeah, pretty frightening. And it's not just Auckland, of course, this is happening all over the country and the numbers are increasing pretty much everywhere. Joe Clough is from Dog Safe Workplace and is here to talk us through the numbers this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, so look, getting much worse, has gotten much worse?
Yes, it has. I've been doing this now since 2013 and we're seeing dramatic increases every year. The numbers you said of 3,000 last year in Auckland is from council. Mm-hmm. ACC reported over 9,000 in Auckland alone last year.
So a lot of those aren't getting to council?
Absolutely.
Does that mean that nothing's being done about those dogs if it's not going to council?
I've heard incidents where the dogs aren't being removed, the people aren't being prosecuted. I know that in certain situations council are very undermanned when it comes to having dog control officers out there, but there has to be owner responsibility and there has to be more accountability when it comes to owning a dog.
The numbers, we'll come back to that in a second, because you're right, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen, does it? No. But the numbers have increased because of COVID, but everyone went out and bought a puppy and couldn't control them. Is that kind of what happened?
Well, it's always been increasing. It's been increasing since I've got statistics from ACC going back to 2005, and there was 11,000 incidents in New Zealand in 2005. But last year there were 29,233 with ACC alone. Now we know that so many of those are being missed and not reported. My daughter got bitten, she was 12 years old. I didn't report it because took her to the doctor, she had a tetanus jab, didn't need any further treatment. Her medical care is already covered at that stage by the government, so no ACC form was filled out.
So actually, if we're talking about, did you say 29,000 for ACC? So 29,000 ACC, that means injuries to humans from dog bites and attacks in one
incidents. So yes, dog bites, but also getting knocked over by a dog.
Right.
Or carrying your cup of tea, tripping over your dog and falling on your coffee table.
Right.
Those kind of things. But it's a huge amount. It was over $30 million was spent just on dog incidents last year with ACC.
Are most of those just, for want of a better term, nice dogs at home who are knocking toddlers over, or are most of those, and the expensive ones, from more vicious breeds who are attacking people on the street?
It's really difficult to say, and you can't really put it down to breed. I know a guy who had his Achilles tendon severed by a chihuahua when he was at work. He was putting blinds up and don't worry, my dog won't bite, and it severed his Achilles tendon. So we can't look at breeds. All dogs can bite. And this is what people forget, I think. We have people going, I've got a Labrador, they love kids. I think Labrador is a lot more tolerant than other dogs. But there are so many different aspects to it. You know, you having people, and it's lovely to call yourself a parent and to have a fur baby, but they're still a dog. You've got to treat them like a dog, not like a toy.
Yeah. We have a beagle, and even though she's perfectly lovely with children, I would never take my eye off. I would never leave my dog alone with a child or a toddler.
No, and you can't, and it's not necessarily the dog's fault. Children don't understand that dogs have feelings. They've got no empathy towards dogs, so pulling the tail or poking them in the eye to them is just something they do with their toys. So there's a lot of education that needs to be done. But one of the things I'm really struggling with is we have so many different messages being put out there by different people. I'm part of a dog bite prevention committee in the UK, so everything we say is very much the latest out there. And in fact, I got a report the other day that they studied 406,000 dog owners in the UK. 80% of them said that they understood when their dog was anxious or scared, but when tested, only 24% of them did. So there's a big difference.
So we think we know our dogs, but actually we have no clue.
Well, I don't want to say that, but we can always learn. You know, there's always new stuff. Like this new report I got the other day, they're talking about when you're greeting a dog, count how many times you stroke it. So I've gone back and said, explain this, show me the research, what does it mean? Because we have never suggested that you put your hand out to a dog. This is the big thing in New Zealand, that we still say no one else says it anymore. The dog can smell you. So they've got 300 million olfactory sensors. We've got 3 million. So you walk into a room, the dog's already smelt you. You don't need to put your hand out to it. Oh. And if you think
why
about it...
Why are we still saying that? I mean, we still have councils saying that. Behind the 8 ball.
The other thing as well, if I can say, I hope you don't mind, but if you're greeting a dog, don't touch its face or chest or chin. That's another thing we're still saying here is when you greet a dog, touch the chin. You've got a child reaching down, touching a strange dog's chest or chin. 80% of dog bites to children are on their face. We wouldn't stand them behind a horse. Why are we putting them at the pointy end of the dog?
So approach from behind if you're going to...
No, you ask permission. If the owner says yes, you let the dog come up to you and sniff you, and you only touch the side back shoulder. You don't get anywhere near the head.
Goodness me. All right. Well, I'm glad we had you on the show. Good information.